please subscribe and don't forget to press the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a new video.
Hi guys, welcome back. Well, the markets are absolutely flat. That actually gives us some time to talk about the big macro issues. Growth engines got a big boost after the January IIP rose higher than expected at 7.5%. Remember, this is the third successive month of a 7% plus IIP growth in India. Are things really picking up on the ground though? Baba Kalyani, the chairman and managing director of Bharat, joins us now to talk about that. Mr. Kalyani, good morning and thank you as always for speaking with us. I wanted to start by asking you whether there are nascent signs of a recovery in the capex cycle or not.
Yeah, of course there are signs. I think most of us who are in the manufacturing business, either connected with infrastructure products or connected with automotive, are seeing a huge bump up in demand, creating the necessity to expand capacities. And I think a big capex cycle is beginning to start, at least in these sectors.
Okay, Mr. Kalyani, good morning and thank you very much for joining us. Actually, we were going to invite you yesterday along with Mr. Unnikrishnan, but I can tell you what Unnikrishnan told us, very much echoing the words that you just said. He said it feels like 2003. Would you agree?
Yeah, it feels very good. You know, I mean, for the first time, we are seeing capacities running full up, demand increasing beyond what we had planned for, and therefore a need for a lot of new capacities. And the good news is there is a lot of underlying logic and reason why that is happening. And you know, that kind of gives you the confidence that this is something that's real and you need to be part of it.
Which sectors, sir?
Well, if you look at the automotive sector, take medium and heavy trucks, for example. You're seeing almost 20 to 30% growth every quarter compared to last quarter in this business. And when you start looking at it as to why this growth is coming, I mean, there are 2 or 3 reasons. Number one, the types of vehicles that are now coming on the road are heavier vehicles, and heavier vehicles require more components. And that's our business, you know, supplying components. So we see per truck far many more components that we need to supply. Second, we are also seeing to a large extent that people are not wanting to use their older vehicles that are 15 years old, because they somehow seem to be too expensive to operate. So there is a natural scrapping or scrappage of older vehicles that is now beginning to take place. And therefore, the replacement demand for trucks is beginning to get to a level which is significantly higher than what it was before.
Okay.
So I think these are factors that are likely to stay for some time.
Okay. Mr. Kalyani, good morning. And what about the defense business, sir? How's that shaping? And also, any further update on BEML? Now we are very close to Karnataka election. Is that process still on, or do you think that's now on the back burner, or have you given up on that?
Well, to answer your first question, the defense business is shaping up reasonably well. Although I must admit we haven't seen any big orders, and that's something that we are hoping for to happen. But we are beginning to see business trickle in. So you will see a much larger amount of revenue coming from our defense business. Once the platform orders start coming in our case, land systems and ammunition and products like that, this business will be much larger. But you know, it's happening. It's beginning to happen, and let's hope the government decides on the platform orders soon.
On the second question? On the second question, Mr. Kalyani, on BEML?
On BEML, I haven't heard anything new in the last couple of weeks, so I presume it's kind of status quo where it was a few weeks ago.
Okay.
I guess we will hear about it only after the elections.
I also wanted to come back to that point you were making about how demand for heavier commercial vehicles has increased, and you know, across the industry that's what we've been hearing. Does that give you more leverage on the margin front, because you're already sitting with what, almost 30% margins, the best in the industry? Do you think it could get better?
Well, we always hope it could get better, but you know, there is a limit to margins that you can make in this business. And I don't think the margins are going to change too much, but I think the volumes are going to get significantly higher. And I think for those volumes, we definitely have to add capacity. We are now putting up new facilities for enhanced output, and that will overall increase our leverage and bottom line.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah, Mr. Kalyani, you said that the demand is increasing more than your expectation and more than your factories can produce. Can you give us an idea of what is the current capacity utilization at your various plants, and how are you meeting it? What are the capex plans that are on the drawing board and in your mind, which you are probably going to follow?
We have broadly 4 categories of businesses, or 4 verticals of businesses that we are currently in. One is the medium and heavy trucks that you people all talk about, the CV business. The second is the pass car business, what is commonly known as automotive. The third is our industrial business. And the fourth is our defense business, the growing defense business.
Okay.
So if you look at our CV business, we were hoping that the CV business will grow, but we were not hoping that it will grow at this rate. So it's growing at a much faster rate, and more than the faster rate in India, because of our peculiar circumstances of the business model of running a truck, more and more trucks are coming with 2 axles in the front. So it's almost like supplying to 2 trucks.
Okay.
And that's how the components are increasing at a dramatic pace compared to numbers.
Mr. Kalyani, your thoughts on what's happening?
Actually, recently Tata Motors came out with a 3-axle truck.
Okay.
You were going to tell us about the other auto sector and industrial sector.
The auto sector is doing well. We are gaining more ground in the auto sector globally, whether it's Europe, whether it's the United States, whether it's India. I think in India we should also see the pass car sector growing very, very handsomely in the next couple of years. The current 3 million odd volume on pass car, we are looking at, let's say, by 2025, 2027, somewhere in the region of 6-7 million. So it's going to be almost doubling of the auto volume. And it just depends on how companies position themselves, and we are positioning ourselves so that we can take away some of the volumes that OEMs otherwise would do it themselves.
Okay.
So there is a large opportunity in that.
Mr. Kalyani, I wanted your thoughts on what's happening in the US. Of course, you have over the last 2 or 3 years made some acquisitions in the US. You also have manufacturing facilities there, but all this protectionism, and if it extends to autos, your thoughts on what's happening there, and is that going to impact business?
No, I don't think so. I think things are quite reasonable. Matter of fact, all of us will grow our business in there. Yes, if you are in the basic raw material space, you may have some problems, but otherwise I don't see any problems.
So now they're taking us to the WTO, we understand, because of all our SEZ policy and EOU policy. Do these things really stand the test, or are they just noise?
I think that's best for the Commerce Ministry to answer.
We are going to
ask
them.
Answer for that.
Okay. So, you spoke about most of the verticals and how they've been growing. I wanted to understand what's happening with oil and gas as well. You've been growing there too. Do you think there's going to be a huge outperformance in that business compared to what you're seeing with the other verticals?
Yes, because we are, we started in that business in the US market. We are now focusing very much in Saudi Arabia and Abu Dhabi for the same business. We will focus in India for the same business. And we see huge opportunities everywhere, because even in the Middle East, they have taken a decision to localize a lot of their input costs or input products. And that kind of gives huge opportunities for companies in this region who are supplying technology products for this sector, and we are supplying only very high technology products in this sector. So we see a lot of opportunity here.
Okay. Mr. Kalyani, it's a pleasure speaking with you, sir. Thank you very much for putting into perspective all those macro numbers that we have been getting. And we'll take up with the Commerce Secretary on the questions on the WTO front. Thank you very much.
Okay, well, let's do one thing. Let's move on. HDIL is one stock that is under pressure. In a setback for HDIL, MHADA has accused its subsidiary, Guru Ashish Construction, of a 1,200 crore rupee fraud. And MHADA's, the paper also speaks about how Guru Ashish Construction has been put forward before the NCLT as well for insolvency after it failed to repay various lenders. Sarang Vadavan, the Vice Chairman and Managing Director of HDIL, joins us on the phone line. Sarang, would you like to refute any of these rumors? There's of course a lot of talk about how the company has been put in front of the NCLT for insolvency, not paying various lenders, a huge 1,200 crore fraud. What would you have to say?
Well, let me just start by saying that in the endeavor to cover some news items or stories, certain facts are omitted by certain people. The one thing that needs to be brought out very clear is the fact fraud on this account. The company, yes, was admitted in the month of April, which was informed to the exchanges as well. It was admitted under NCLT. And there were no various lenders. There was only one lender, Union Bank of India, that had taken the company to the NCLT, and that's the only debt on the company. The fraud that MHADA has alleged that the company has done, this company was to create 3,000 tenements for MHADA and hand them over. There has been a delay in handing over of the tenements. However, the company still has enough assets and has enough to cover up and ensure that the construction of the MHADA component will be completed.
Has HDIL given any corporate guarantees?
No, HDIL has not given any corporate guarantee for the same. However, an undertaking was given by HDIL stating that the component of MHADA will be completed. However, this was prior to the company being admitted under NCLT. Okay. That being said, now the resolution plan which is being prepared by the RP covers the entire aspect of MHADA component, rehab component, and every other due which is there from the company will be covered in the resolution plan, which will be submitted to the NCLT in the next 10 to 15 days' time.
Okay, Sarang, good morning. The same report also says that the High Court has asked for the details of your assets. Is that right?
That's fine. The High Court can ask for all the details that they require. They want details of HDIL assets because the consumers or the people who have bought the assets of Guru Ashish or FSI from Guru Ashish have alleged that their asset is under threat. So they want HDIL to be sure that the HDIL is standing by their commitment. At the end of the day, the company that has actually sold the asset is Guru Ashish. Guru Ashish was admitted under NCLT. We will await the decision of the tribunal. The problem has happened that MHADA has tried to cancel the agreement even during the moratorium, which was not supposed to be done as per the NCLT order.
Okay. No, but what happens, what is underway at the NCLT? Will you get a lower loan load?
Well, the NCLT professional is deciding on the resolution plan. He will definitely then come forward as to how the bank has to be handled. There is enough assets in the company to ensure that the bank debt is taken care of. I mean, whatever the resolution plan covers, as you know, in the IBC code, the promoters now are not allowed to intervene. I am not allowed to even talk to the resolution professional as far as the resolution plan is concerned. So now it is up to the resolution professional to put forth their contention and the resolution plan, and then we'll take it up from there. However, the commitment of Guru Ashish, as far as we are concerned, and the commitment of HDIL stands that whatever is directed to HDIL will comply with the same.
What is the amount involved to the lender? 250 crores?
The total amount at that given point in time was 250 crores. However, we got a one-time settlement from the bank, and that is now being taken forth by the resolution professional.
Okay, what is the one-time settlement? How much and when will you pay?
I don't think till the time the resolution plan is put in, I can disclose that figure.
Okay, okay. So, what should investors in HDIL be prepared for in terms of what might be HDIL's obligations?
See, even if the High Court states that HDIL has any obligation, which as per the NCLT order does not apply to HDIL, even if the High Court does direct, HDIL will comply with the directions of the High Court.
Okay. All right, Sarang, thanks a lot for your time today and clarifying. So that's the view from HDIL. They believe that there's been no fraud, but of course there are issues, and of course there's no corporate guarantee that HDIL has taken for Guru Ashish, and it's already an NCLT case, of course. But let's address the market now. it's pretty flat, but the story of the day today is really in the mid caps, and once again the advanced decline is now looking really strong. So about 2:1. So overall, the bulls are, should be feeling good about the market today because the broader market is doing so well. Ashwini Gujral, Mitesh Thakkar and Rajat Bose now join us. Ashwini, doing well for the mid cap index, but the large cap indices are a bit subdued. Your thoughts and stock calls?
See, what I tend to look at is that, how does the market react to good or bad news? So we had tariff, we had fraud, etc. thrown at the market, but PNB moves into the green. These days PC Jeweler is a sentiment indicator that's now seeing short covering. So my sense is that the bears are not getting traction, and sooner or later we will move into the green and they'll be forced to cover like yesterday. So we are getting this nice dip early morning, which can be bought into, and we'll probably get into the green fairly soon and move to the upper end of the range, which is defined by 10,460, 480 thereabouts. Similarly, the banks are recovering, so the propensity to react to negative news is reducing a little bit. Having said that, individual stocks, GSFC is a buy with a stop of 123, target of 135. Jubilant Food is a buy with a stop of 2100, target of 2230, and PC Jeweler is a buy with a stop of 365, target of 390.
Okay. Is Stride Shasun starting anything good? I mean, it's a big gainer today.
Well, this rally is much more about where short positions are there.
Okay.
Now, unless there is some specific news, I think it's below its 200 fairly in a strong bear market, but for the day it could maybe run up to 760, 765. But I think the better place to look at is probably the banks.
Okay, you told us about this, and GSFC is one of your call, but in fertilizers, you think this is the start of a fresh move, Ashwini?
See, it appears that some amount of macro news is there, some policy change, etc. But overall, these stocks have corrected a lot. From 165, GSFC is down to 120. So if rural focus, etc. is going to pick up, I think this next 1 year could be good for fertilizer stocks.
Okay, by the way, the future group stocks are also rallying, as we mentioned earlier as well. Future retail is now up almost about 7% and a couple of other future group stocks have also started to move well into the green. So look, just focus on this pocket as well. Mitesh Thakkar and Rajat Bose are also with us. Gentlemen, morning. Mitesh, what are the stocks that you would be looking at this morning?
Yeah. So I have two buy calls. In fact, Jubilant Foods is also on my buy list. Buy with a stop at 2085, look for 2175 as your target. And Wipro, I think, is seeing good follow through after 2 days of slow up move. I think today is picking up momentum. That's a buy with a stop at 295, look for targets of 310.
Okay, Rajat, good morning. What are your trades?
Yeah, I have 4 buy calls to start with. The best stock in today's session would be, again, the Jubilant Food. My stop loss is 2085, 2148 and 2170 are the 2 targets that I have. And the second stock that I'm betting on in order of preference, Tech Mahindra, 637 is my stop loss, 660 and 669 are the 2 targets. In fact, I'm expecting Tech Mahindra in the days to come would cross 700 as well. Third stock, Hero MotoCorp, I'll put a stop loss below 3654. 3718 and 3729 are the 2 targets. Hero MotoCorp, after a day's correction, is once again gathering momentum. And finally, it will be McDowell. 3120 is my stop loss, 3195 and 3219 are the 2 targets. I personally hold some shares of McDowell or rather United Spirits in my investment portfolio.
Okay, but by the way, just want to point out Bank Nifty is almost in the green. Ashwini, what is interesting today is both for Nifty and Bank Nifty, the futures are underperforming. There's a significant decline in premium. Your thoughts on that?
Well, that's likely to cover up because, early morning the news was such that people probably went short, etc. Now even metals are recovering. Generally on a soft global day, metals go down. But I think the short covering will pick up in the next few minutes, and we should move into the green, and futures premium will build up. In fact, the Nifty has regained its premium about 10-11 points. Also, the point here is that now the buyers are becoming confident of buying the dip. So from like half the sectors being in negative, Now hardly 2 or 3 sectors are in the negative. So the shorts that came in the morning, that should help. And NBFCs are making a strong comeback. DHFL, India Bulls Housing, etc. because of that Canfin Home deal.
Oh yes, in fact, the market is at the high point now. In fact, the mid-cap index is up full 1%. It's turning out to be a really good day because the market gave you that initial decline and then moved on and is seeing quite a bit of buying.
Actually, for the NBFC sector, one tailwind should be that global yields have actually softened over the last 48 hours, ever since the US inflation number came in. And these always have an impact on Indian yields as well, though you don't see it today. There can be, that's a point that you have to take on board. Finally, Ashwini, I wanted your thoughts on Wipro. Is there more money to be made?
See, there are often, stocks which don't really perform in line with the market or even in line with the sector. Wipro is closer to its 200-day moving average, whereas NIT Tech is at new highs. I think mid-cap IT is doing significantly better than Wipro. I don't think Wipro is offering you a great trade right now.
Okay, by the way, just take a look at HDIL's intraday chart. I think the clarification from Sarang is helping. And now the stock is actually almost at the highs of the day, still down, of course, about 1.5%, but from being down 5%,